The Mountain Mafia would like to welcome you to Mountain Havoc 2018 presented by AMSOIL. Today we bring to you family-friendly vehicular violence. The Mountain Mafia has teamed up with Winch to create an insane course that consists of wet holes, huge rocks, and the infamous tire garden. On top of that, the rain has not let up and the track is going to be super moist. Going into the fourth event, Brian Foss is in first place, followed by Latham and Harold. Welcome to 2018 Mountain Havoc presented by AMSOIL. I'm Ben Spinney. I'm standing here at the Winch rock course. This is an extremely difficult course where the co-driver is a key player. They will be responsible for pulling winch cables if these drivers get stuck. We've designed and created one of the most difficult rock courses to try to stop these Havoc rigs. One of the hardest parts of this course is the tire garden. Let's talk to Mac for more on that.
Thanks, Ben. This is the tire garden. These competitors are going to have to monster truck over these tires. If they end up getting stuck, it's sink or swim. That's when their co-driver's going to have to pull winch line and get them unstuck. Looking forward to this vehicular violence and seeing who comes up on top.
The rock course, you got to go into it with calm mind, and pick your lines really good. Strategy does come in. I don't show people lines. I don't talk about lines. I'll walk a course at the end of the path. I got guys asking me questions all the time, but I've done consistently well in the rock course and the mountain man here for the last 2 years.
Rock course, we don't have big rocks at home, so that's different for us to drive in. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's hard, it's tech.
Definitely the rock course is by far brutal on trucks, right? We're dealing with granite, sharp pointy rocks, and last year I tore open my oil pan.
The rocks they use are really kind of jagged, sharp rocks, like shot quarry rock. Really hard on tires. The combination with a little bit of moisture and the logs, everything gets pretty slick.
Mud holes, rocks, logs, tire pit that most vehicles do not complete.
I finally got to beat the tires. I have no grudge against them. However it works out this year, it works out. But
you got to feel pretty honored just to finish that one. But that one's pretty tough, and we're going to try to finish and make sure we get through, and then gives you a whole night to fix everything for the main event, the Mountain Man Challenge, which is basically hell, but that's what we came here for.
After walking this course, these drivers are nervous and on edge. The tone is serious, and everyone is thinking about strategy, knowing this course is going to change throughout the day. Greg Torrey on course, another driver in contention for overall.
My strategy in the rock course this year was more to bounce over top of them than to try to crawl them and finesse them. Like, it was easier just to do some monster truck stuff and get up and over and bounce out. So it worked pretty good, I think. I'm shaking. Out of breath a little bit, the adrenaline's going. I think we were doing really good, and then when we got caught in those tires, that's sort of when you get really frustrated, and I think the adrenaline really builds. So, we rocked in and out of there a little bit, and then we kicked him out of the cab. He tied us on, winched us, and then once we winched, we thought we were out. We wheeled the winch in all the way, and we were still hung up a little bit. But the rear tire blew off the bead, so. But yeah, it was a good run. It felt good. It felt fast, but we had to winch. We don't like winching.
Even with a flat tire, Greg Torrey is the first competitor to complete this course, putting him in the lead, thanks to his co-driver, Ryan McCarty. The 2018 Mountain Havoc Championship is presented by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, and sponsored by Max, American-made tie-down solutions, Warn, Go Prepared, and Mountain Mafia. Check out Mountain Mafia Entertainment on social media. Havoc-style racing is growing as the Mafia constantly improves and develops this venue. Courses change every year, and so does the list of drivers. If you like what you see and you think you're bad enough to hang with guys like Haft, Gord, Noggle, and the rest of these competitors, then by all means, come get some. The Mountain Mafia provides many opportunities to get into Havoc, with multiple qualifiers in the US and Canada. There is also an opportunity to get voted in. For more details, follow and hit up Mountain Mafia Entertainment on social media. This is the definition of vehicular violence, and one of the main reasons we do all of this. This event demands talent, horsepower, and a vehicle capable of holding up to this type of incredible abuse. At this stage in the game, it's crucial that these guys keep it together. The Mountain Man finale for double points is tomorrow, but to even get there, they need to survive what's right in front of them. Over half the field had to winch and still didn't cross the finish line due to breakage or running out of time. The Coalition Crawler Recovery Crew, Warren Winches, and Max Straps have done an excellent job extracting broken rigs and clearing this course. A lot of these teams will be fixing their rigs all night to make the race tomorrow. Let's look at the leaderboard. As you can see, Greg Torrey's still the only one to complete this course clean. Let's check out Neil Harrison up next.
You know, everything was a little bit of a smash and bash, trying to get through it. Really slick, which definitely changed things up a bit. We chose a couple lines and things just didn't go as planned. As soon as you chose a line, tires would slide off. There was a couple of giant rocks kind of sticking straight up in the air. Ended up hanging the rear diff up on a couple of them, best I could tell. Did have to winch through those ones, thanks to my girlfriend Allie. She took care of that. The tires, I've never hit them before. This is my first time. From everything that I've seen, it was to keep it wide open, and I expected them to be a lot rougher than they were. Fortunately, soaked them up pretty good, bounced through them, got a good bounce, probably a lucky bounce, and made it through to the other side. So.
Neil Harrison's able to pound his way through the tire garden. It took him a while, but he is on the board in second place. Next up, we have Kelly Day, the Canadian Predator. He is suited up and ready to have some fun.
My strategy from the beginning on the rocks was to just power through them, try to get my front end up and over the piles so that when I land on the other side, I got all my weight over the rocks and drag the light end over with the front end. Well, obviously I was in that mud hole. Just when you go into trees, you have to climb out the mud hole, go over the rocks around that one dead tree. I had to back up a couple times, try and get the proper line on that. At the end in the tires, I struggled, I ended up on my side. Co-Dog and I, we should have grabbed a snatch block from camp. We could have went to the owl, hooked the snow block or the snatch block into the owl back to the top of the buggy on the cage, and we would have been able to winch it over, but we left the snatch block in camp. Well, I think even if we'd have got the rig over, recovery had to pull us out because my engine was out of oil, probably upside down like that by then. What it's going to take me to get ready for the Mountain Man tomorrow will be fill all my fluids, double check my drive line, double check this one shock that was laying on the tire, make sure everything's still going to work for tomorrow.
A great run by Kelly Day, but another driver taken down by those tires. Plenty of heavy hitters coming up next. Welcome back to Mountain Havoc 2018, presented by AMSOIL. Before we get back to the action, let's go to a Mountain Mafia tech tip with Len Groom.
This event is cool to us because it's the ultimate proving ground for the products, because these guys they're at the top of their game. They're doing things to these vehicles that they were never ever designed to do. So we do things as well to try and make sure that these guys are protected. So the axle fluids, the motor oil, we know they're going to roll over, on the side, and there's going to be no oil pressure. The temperatures are through the roof. So the oil is designed and built by us to withstand those types of things, low pressure, high temperatures. We formulate with super high quality parts to make sure that these guys will be protected when the chips are down. I would call this a proving ground for the product for sure, because before it ever gets into a truck, we've got a lot of testing into it, but we work with certain guys to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do. So yeah, it's a great proving ground for AMSOIL products.
Brian Foss is on his way to total Havoc domination. He sits in first place overall after the first 3 events and shows no sign of letting up. Brian has a great attitude, and he's the epitome of a Havoc-style racer. He's ripping up these courses all weekend long with a big smile on his face.
The beginning, just through the rock pile, was pretty good, pretty big, so I kind of just drove over it. I just picked nice straight lines through the other 2 rock courses. Felt exhilarating. It felt like such a up, still like vibrating. Very hard technical course. Yeah, point and shoot, man. I don't know what to tell you. It was just brutal. It was hard. I didn't know if I was picking the right line. I couldn't see. I was every direction. I was just like, oh my God. Then I seen a big tree in front of me like 3 times, I think. Oh, that was awesome, man. Knocked her down almost. Ben's gonna love me. This is the Mountain Man machine right here. This is the Havoc machine. It is. Hands down.
I couldn't agree more. This is a true Havoc rig. Brian Foss is a man of his word, and he's backing up everything he's been saying. These Canadians are stoked. It's fist bumps all the way around. He's going to be in first place, one of the few drivers to complete this course. Here's Steven Montpass, one of the craziest drivers in this event. This is a brand new rig, but he's a veteran. He knows what to do in these big rocks, and he is no stranger to that tire garden.
Strategy for the rock course is just to get a clean run, make sure that we could get to, there's a couple holes that people are fighting, so kind of have some strategy for that stuff, but we know people have been struggling today, and we know that earlier in the event we had to catch up on some points, so we had to drive a little hard today. It's nasty, man. We're kind of middle of the pack here coming into this, and we busted through some. We had a little hang up, actually broke a knuckle on one side. We fought through it with one tire dangling in the wind. Luckily, we had lots of traction, pulled through, and just fought through it. Got a great co-pilot, and we're gonna go back with our team, get this thing buttoned up.
As expected, Steven Montpass powers his way through that tire garden, which is a victory in itself. He's got broken steering and a flat tire, but it's still good enough to put him into second place. With Brian Foss holding down a commanding lead, the pressure is on. We still have plenty of action to come, with last year's champ Leroy Latham and the Heralds still to run. The 2018 Mountain Havoc Championship is presented by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, and sponsored by Tough Country Easy Ride Suspension Kits, Miller Welders, the Power of Blue, and by Send It Productions. Welcome back to Mountain Havoc 2018, presented by AMSOIL. It's time to meet some more of our Mountain Mafia family. This is the father-son team, the Heralds.
I've never been on TV before, so it's kind of weird having cameras pointed at your face, but...
I like beer. Beer's good. I love beer. My name is Brett Harrell. I'm from Salem, Oregon. Almsville, Oregon.
I'm Brent Harrell. I'm 15. I'm from Salem, Oregon, and I've been doing this since like August, I think.
Competing here with my son, it's pretty awesome experience. He's been chasing me in the shop since he's been a little boy. He was driving a smaller buggy called Big Easy last year. He raced all last year with that buggy, and he did well, and he showed some promising skills.
My dad definitely pushes me to do the best and really want to beat him, so I try to go all out without breaking. He's
been a huge help. You know, everything I ask him to do in the shop, he does it without question. You know, he's a 3.85 student in high school. That's pretty good for a sophomore.
School is very difficult to get through the day. Hard to pay attention when there's buggies at home.
He's earned his way in my books. You know, a lot of people bag on him because he's 15 years old, but he's worked his butt off to get to where he's at.
I like this sport because it's unlike anything. There's nothing really compares to the adrenaline rush.
So he'll be driving the buggy named Havoc, and I'm excited. I'm pretty proud to have him here with me.
It's great to see a father-son team working together to try to win this event and bring the trophy home to Oregon. And Brent is doing a great job proving he belongs here with these top drivers. If he can make it through this tire garden, his dad is going to be extremely proud.
What was going on in your head? Like, I seen you got kind of turtled up there for a second at the start of the course in the first section of rocks, and you had to work it a little bit. The buggy died once. I mean, what was going on in your head?
I don't know. I was just thinking, oh man, it's not going to stay running, but then it did, and I made it through, so it worked out in the end.
What did you think about the course from there? I mean, you guys took a completely different line that I told you, from what I had told you to do, but you made it work with the big tire, and the rock in the center of the tire, and you walked right through it. What happened there?
I don't know. I kind of took off from the first pile, and then Jeremy didn't catch up in time, so I figured, why not just go for it?
Now, I seen your rear steer was kind of hung up for a second, so it kicked you off to the right on that. I don't know, it's the second pile, so it put you onto the right-hand side of the third pile, and it worked out great. But up there at the tree, I seen that you got flustered up there for a second, you got bellied out. I'm over here telling you to pedal it, just get it, and finally you did. There's not many guys that have completed that course. He's never been on this course. He's never got a chance to run it at the LCQ last month. And for him to go out there with a level head and drive the way that he did, with the steering problems and keeping the buggy running, for him to go through and monster truck it out like that and finish it, it's awesome. Words can't even describe it right now. I mean, he just one-shotted that thing.
The leaderboard tells the story. Brent Harrell lands in 4th, Brian Foss still in the lead. Here is Leroy Latham in Monster Buggy. It's been running great all weekend long. Ben Shartner hoping to go for a nice ride.
We took off from the rocks and got through them I wouldn't say it was clean. We got through them pretty quick, but there was a lot of banging going on underneath. Went over the first set of tires super smooth. That was no problem at all. Then we wound up taking out the tree, unfortunately, but I tried getting around it, and when my rear tire grabbed it, it was too late at that point. I just heard a snap and a tree falling past me. I'm an advocate for not tearing the trees up, so I feel pretty bad about it. At least it was an old dead tree, I suppose. We got tangled up in the tires, and it's almost a replay of 2015. We just, too many RPM, pitched all the belts, had no steering, engine was getting hot. And just kept her cool, kept my cool. The truck wasn't cool at all, but Ben bailed out, hooked up the winch, and it just wasn't enough to pull it, and it was just getting hot. I couldn't help with the steering at all. And we had a killer run going right up to that point. I don't think it was a first place run, but it was a respectable run. And I really, after the first time backing up and hitting it, nothing happened. I should have just stopped and winched, but I really thought it would bang over it. Here's what it is. Ben doubled up the winch line, two-parted the line, and had enough poop to get it out of there, and just stayed cool and calm and got over the finish line. And that's really what I wanted. I don't see any flat tires yet, and I told everybody my goal was to make it to the finish line with no flats. So we'll get back there and throw some belts on it and throw some coolant in it. Hopefully everything's good, and we'll go from there, be ready for tomorrow.
That's not the run that Leroy wanted, putting him in 6th place and leaving the door open for our last driver, Brent Harrell. Let's see if he can capitalize on this run and climb the leaderboard.
Taking off, I knew that I had to be on the rocks on my passenger side. My buggy's 106 wide, so that's not a very big gate to come through on the first couple of rocks. So I knew if I could get that on, my passenger side up, we could just monster truck over everything. I seen a lot of guys, the second pile of rocks was no problem, but I seen a lot of guys have troubles on the third pile. So I chose the right line and figured I'd just get on it a little bit. And it worked out great. We finished up, I think, the 4th rock pile pretty quick. Everything else went really smooth. We went through the tires, and that's the first time I've actually bounced out of those tires. But I guess I hit a cone. You can't tell what's going on when you're in that tire garden, you don't know where you're at. And I popped out. I thought I made the gate, so I ran through the finish line, and they told me I had to stop and rerun it, so I had to spin around and redo the tires, the back corner. So I don't know. We had to do it twice, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. So it cost me a lot of time, I know that, but it was still a fast run. I'm happy with it.
Brett bounced off course and out of bounds, and head judge Stephen Adair makes the right call and turns him around. Regardless of that mistake, Brett still puts down the fastest time of the day to win the Warren Winch Rock Course. Brian Foss still holds down the lead, followed by Brett Harrell, Leroy Latham, Brent Harrell, and Greg Torrey.
Ready for the Mountain Man tomorrow. We're definitely going to make sure we're really waterproof, make sure that we don't have any ignition misfires or anything like that. Make sure everything's buttoned up tight and just hit her hard and try to slog through that mud.
Brought a Mountain Man, first place running Mountain Man, first contender tomorrow. And we're going to show you boys what it's all about. Mountain Man's my favorite course. Mountain Man's like what we do back home. I love that. I've never had a problem with Mountain Man course yet, so tomorrow we're going to put on a good show.
So I'm going to be ready for the Mountain Man tomorrow. We're going to double check all of our fittings. We're going to make sure everything's tight. We're not going to lose any fluid. We're just going to hit it hot and heavy.
Tomorrow when I'm getting ready for the Mountain Man, I'll have my winch rewound, windshield clean, everything topped off on oil, and get some good sleep.
Tune in next time for our double points grand finale, the brutal Tough Country Mountain Man course. The longest course of Havoc, the Mountain Man features mud, rocks, holes, and obstacles that are sure to push these drivers to the absolute limit. On behalf of the Mountain Mafia, we'll see you next time.